Should you pre-order games in 2022? Well, this is my opinion. Remember, this my opinion. But before we get into it,
what's up, YouTube? It's your boy, Mr. Jackson. Let us go.
So let's get into it. Should you pre-order games? After these last couple years, developers was focused really as a game that wasn't finished. The developers didn't have no say, and when could they games be released, even though they know the game is not finished? Let me give you some examples. Outriders is one of the latest releases of 2021, hitting the shelves on the 1st of April for the PlayStation and Xbox consoles, PC, and Google Stadia. It was received quite well when it was launched, as publisher Square Enix announced that the co-op shooter amassed over 3.5 million players in its first month. That is no easy feat to achieve, and the industry giant was already calling Outriders its next big franchise. Fast forward 3 months later, that prospect doesn't seem quite likely now. When the game first came out, it was good. We had one overpower emergency stance attain golem protective effect for 4 seconds, whenever your health drops below 30%. 10's cooldown. After People Can Fly nerf, that one modded broke the whole game. So People Can Fly was getting bugs after bugs and taking months to fix a bug for a year. So after year, people gave up on Outriders. Outriders playable now, but it's too late. The next game, Cyberpunk 2077. Cyberpunk 2077 was released on December 10, 2020. Cyberpunk 2077 is an action role-playing video game developed and published by CD Projekt. The story takes place in Night City, an open world set in the Cyberpunk universe. Players assume the first-person perspective of a customizable mercenary known as V, who can acquire skills in hacking and machinery with options for melee and ranged combat. After years of anticipation, CD Projekt released Cyberpunk 2077 for PlayStation 4, Stadia, Windows, and Xbox One on 10 December 2020, followed by PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X/S on 15 February 2022. It received praise from critics for its narrative, setting, and graphics, although some of its gameplay elements received mixed responses, while its themes and representation of transgender characters received some criticism. It was also widely criticized for bugs, particularly in the console versions, which suffered from performance problems. Sony removed it from the PlayStation Store from December 2020 to June 2021, while CD Projekt rectified some of the problems. CD Projekt became subject to investigations and class action lawsuits for their perceived attempts at downplaying the severity of the technical problems before release. These were ultimately cleared with a settlement of US $1.85 million. Cyberpunk 2077 was a big let-do for a lot of people. People was following this game for years. Now it's getting better, but it's too late. Let's talk about one more game. I don't want the video be too long. Battlefield 2042 release on November 12, 2021. Battlefield 2042 is a first-person shooter game developed by DICE and published by Electronic Arts. It is the 17th installment in the Battlefield series, and was released in 2021 for Microsoft Windows, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox One, and Xbox Series X and S. Unlike previous games in the series, Battlefield 2042 is solely multiplayer, and does not have a single-player campaign. It also features support for cross-platform play, a first in the series. Battlefield 2042 received mixed reviews from critics, and a negative reception from players for its technical issues, lack of content at launch, and certain changes to gameplay. Player reception was much more critical. Battlefield 2042 became one of the worst-reviewed games on Steam, garnering almost 30,000 negative reviews by November 21, 2021. Players criticized extensive bugs, a lack of features previously included in older Battlefield games, and several changes to gameplay. Some also panned the inclusion of Christmas-themed skins, including a leaked Santa Claus example, as conflicting with the series' dark and gritty tone. Despite becoming one of its most played games on Steam at launch, the game's player count sharply declined in the following weeks from about 105,397 concurrent peak players to an average peak of 52,000. On November 28, 2021, Kotaku journalist Zach Wiesen noted that Battlefield 2042 had been overtaken in player numbers on Steam by Farming Simulator 22, considering it notable that one of the biggest games of the year on one of the most popular digital stores in the world on one of the biggest gaming platforms in the world isn't able to keep up with Farming Sim. Later 22. By 2 December, Battlefield 2042 had lost 70% of its initial players on Steam. By the end of December, the Steam concurrent player base for Battlefield 2042 decreased to about 19,000, being overtaken by 2018's Battlefield V in daily player numbers. As of mid-February 2022, the Steam player count for Battlefield 2042 had fallen to under 2,000. In January 2022, DICE removed the fan-favorite Rush mode from the featured playlist in Battlefield 2042's Portal mode, resulting in more backlash from players. Meanwhile, EA Global Communications Director Andy McNamara criticized the audience's expectations as brutal on Twitter, causing hostile responses from players and harassment of DICE developers. On Reddit, discourse about Battlefield 2042 became adversarial enough that moderators threatened to shut down the game's official subreddit. In February 2022, a Change.org petition advocating for all buyers of Battlefield 2042 to be refunded reached more than 200,000 signatures within a month. The author of the petition cited the game's numerous technical issues that had rendered it unplayable, while claiming that the developers failed to keep promises with improving the game at launch. And it's more games, plenty of more. But at one that's doing real good: Horizon Forbidden West. Horizon Forbidden West is an action role-playing video game developed by Guerrilla Games and published by Sony Interactive Entertainment for the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. A sequel to 2017's Horizon Zero Dawn, it is a single-player open-world game set in a post-apocalyptic version of the western United States. The player must travel and complete missions using survival skills, melee attacks, and long-distance weapons in a world overrun by a deadly plague, hostile machine creatures, and other survivors. Question is, should you pre-order games in 2022? It's two games have a lot people pre-order: the Elden Ring and Destiny 2 The Witch Queen. I'm going give update on those games soon. What else can we talk about?
It's the rule.
But I know the one who does know how. Oh wow. It's like I'm learning the game with the maker I already know now. Destiny has